Hi guys, welcome back to 100% Mag. So hope you're all staying safe and well out there. So in this match preview today, we are going to be talking about the upcoming game this Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff down in the capital against, of course, none other than West Ham United, as we go into this game on a venue where we have had quite a lot of luck over the past 6 times we have visited this ground, of course, with us winning no less than 4 times, drawing one and losing one, of course, at this ground. The last time we lost at this ground was back in the 2018-2019 season. It was a 2-0 loss to West Ham, but since then we've went on, of course, to win 4 times and draw once. Of course, the most recent win was that game last season, 5-1 win against West Ham at the London Stadium, of course, where we seen goals, a double from Wilson. He even did the Macarena. Joe Linton bagged 2 goals in the game, and Isak's lovely goal against Fabianski, where he came out of the goal. He didn't have anything else he could do, and Isak chipped it in, hands on the hips, and we got that iconic image of Fabianski standing next to Alexander Isak with his hands on his hips, and Fabianski with his head in his hands after, Newcastle scoring yet another goal in the game. We are also going into this game as well, looking for our 4th successive Premier League victory, of course, and we are also going into this game as well, looking for our 7th unbeaten game this season in all competitions, having drawn and won in the Champions League and also won in the League Cup as well against Manchester City. So we are on fine form right now. I can't wait for this game. I really can't, especially after that game on Wednesday night at St James's Park. That was absolutely fantastic against PSG. Who would have thought that Newcastle were going to come away from that game 4-1 winners against the French champions PSG at St James's Park, with Champions League football back there for the first time in 20 years. This game will be a 2 o'clock kickoff, of course, so we will not be able to see this live on UK TV, but it will be available on foreign channels, of course. The Sunday slot is purely because West Ham were taking part in their European action, of course, on Thursday night just gone there, winning 2-1 against SC Freiburg. They went 1-0 up in the game, of course, with Lucas Paqueta scoring the goal. Freiburg got back into the game at 1-1, and then it was Aguard who scored on the 66th minute for West Ham to seal the victory for West Ham in that game against SC Freiburg. Looking at the team news going into this game, we will talk about, of course, the West Ham news first. The West Ham news is, of course, yes, you do, Les, mate, you gotta love those foreign channels. Talking about the West Ham news first, of course, ahead of our visit, West Ham won, of course, like I just mentioned, 2-1 against Bundesliga side SC Freiburg in the Europa League on Thursday night just gone there. They are also a doubt on 2 players going into this game, with Mikel Antonio and Aaron Cresswell, of course, doubtful for the game. I'm sure they'll probably have late fitness tests going into this game. Looking at our team news going into the game, Anthony Gordon serves a 1-match suspension, of course, after picking up a collection of 5 bookings from his opening 7 Premier League games of the season. Joe Willock, Harvey Barnes and Sven Botman, of course, are all unavailable due to injury, so they won't be able to be in contention for this game. However, Wilson and Joe Linton could be available for the game depending on late fitness tests, according to what has been said by Eddie Howe in his press conference, of course, today. He said that Joe Linton and Joe Willock will have late fitness tests, and hopefully, we will see them available for the game at the weekend. Of course, after that game at the weekend, we do go on to an international break. But before I talk about that, of course, the referee for the game this weekend will be none other than Peter Banks, or Peter Wanks, as us Newcastle United fans like to call him. two PL appearances involving Newcastle last season. It was a 1-1 draw against Wolves at the Molyneux and a 1-1 draw at St James's Park against, of course, West Ham. The VAR duties are Andy Madley this time, the brother of course, Bobby Madley, ex-Premier League referee. And, of course, talking about the international break, we did see Southgate put out his international selection for, of course, the England squad, and only one Newcastle United player making it in there. I was very disappointed to see that, we didn't see the inclusion of Anthony Gordon in there. We didn't see the inclusion of Nicky Pope in there. We didn't see the inclusion of even Dan Burn in there, one of the best left backs in the Premier League right now. And he still hasn't been given a call up to England. We're seeing Chris Sutton talking about it, of course, in the media of late as well, saying, it would have been nice to see Dan Burn getting a call up. He should be getting a call up because he's absolutely killing it right now with that left back position. Nicky Pope's had clean sheet after clean sheet, and he's still not being called up to the England setup as well. But it's just really disappointing to see that Southgate is still overlooking Newcastle United players. Only Kieran Trippier getting in there, and that is purely down to the fact that Kieran Trippier is England's best right back. So you have to have Kieran Trippier in there. And probably the best right back in the world right now as well. But when we come back off that international break, we do have a game at St James's Park on the 21st of October. That will be against Crystal Palace. Then it is on to the 25th of October where we take on Borussia Dortmund in our third game of the Champions League. And of course that is back-to-back games in the Champions League as well with Borussia Dortmund, we're then taking them on at their ground at the Signal Iduna Park in Dortmund, of course. But on the 28th of October, we'll also have a game against Wolves at the Molyneux. And, of course, in November 1st, we have the game against Manchester United in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. But I've got to say, looking at this game at the weekend, I have the utmost confidence that Newcastle can come away with a result here. So far this season on the road, we've seen Newcastle win 8-0 against Sheffield United, and we've had some pretty subpar results in other games, like the game against Manchester City, of course, at theirs. But I've got to say, this game at the weekend is a game that I do believe we will win. I am going to go in here and I am going to say Newcastle to come away from this game with I'd take a 1-0 win, but I do feel like we've got it in the tank, especially after the high that we're seeing on Wednesday night. That's still going to be buzzing in the players going into this game. So I think we could see a high scoring game. I think we could see Newcastle coming away from this game with a 4-0, 5-0 win against West Ham. But like I say, I'd be happy to take the 1-0 win, get the 3 points in the bag, and let's move on from there. But let's have a quick look at some of the comments, of course, that are on the live chat. Watched them yesterday, didn't look anything special. Of course, Les Stapleton saying here, watched them yesterday, didn't look anything special, but could well rise their game against us. We've got Razel coming in as well, probably a bit early for some people to watch. I'm actively avoiding work. Les again coming in there with another comment. Craig Hope just said that Wilson and Joelinton are not injured per se, but it could be a risk to play them both training on grass. Yeah, I didn't say that about Craig Hope's comments, so yeah, I'm just going off what Eddie Howe said in the press conference. He says that could be a late fitness test, Les. So let's see what happens. We won't know if they'll be available or not until, of course, that team lineup comes out. Because we all know Eddie Howe loves to keep his cards close to his chest on this one, and he loves to keep his cards close to his chest on the games as well. But we'll see, what happens coming up, with that lineup. Also, we did see Eddie Howe as well in the press conference being questioned about, what it's been like being the Newcastle United manager, and he had some pretty good words to say. You know, he says he has a really good feeling when he wakes up in the morning, knowing that he is doing something absolutely fantastic, and I don't blame him. You know, imagine waking up in the morning, Newcastle United manager, and you get a take on the likes of PSG, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. This is something that Eddie Howe, you know, has not been able to witness as a manager, because you always managed the teams, you know, like Bournemouth, who just don't get to play these kinds of games. And, you know, he's absolutely killing it as well in these games. There's some questions from quite a few different media outlets, you know, saying, is Eddie Howe the right man for the job? We're seeing Simon Jordan, you know, on Talk Sport saying it, saying that he thinks Eddie Howe is the Mark Hughes of Newcastle United, like we're seeing at Man City, you know, where Mark Hughes came in, he built the foundations, and then somebody else came in and took over. Of course, being Mancini. But I don't think that's the case. You know, I really don't think that's the case. I think Eddie Howe will be the guy to take it forward. He will be the guy to win with silverware, and then, you know, we'll see what happens from there. But I don't see our owners getting rid of Eddie Howe anytime soon, and I don't see, you know, Eddie Howe wanting to leave anytime soon, neither for, you know, that England job when Southgate moves on. I don't see Eddie Howe moving for that job. He loves the day to day. We've heard it plenty of times. He says he loves the day to day work and being involved with the players, and you don't get that in the England job. I've said it plenty of times on this channel. You don't get that in the England job. So Eddie Howe really wouldn't be suited to that job, no matter how many media outlets want to push it onto him. But let's see what happens at the weekend. I think it is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a hard game because it's two teams that are firing on all cylinders. Thomas Souček for West Ham has scored in, I think, 2 of his last 3 scored in as well. So we'll see, you know, what happens going into this game. But having a quick look at a few more comments before we end off the stream. There's Les in there again. He's just put it out call on his YouTube, so I'll go have a check of that after the stream, Les mate, and then, you know, I'll see what happens with that. After that, we were going down before he arrived. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Eddie Howe, you know, did something that not a lot of managers would do. Pep Guardiola even said himself that he wouldn't have been able to do what Eddie Howe did without money. So, you know, at the end of the day, Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job. He's here for the foreseeable future. He's here, you know, for however long he wants to be here for, because I don't see our owners getting rid of him anytime soon, and I wouldn't want him to go, to be honest, because he is doing a fantastic job. And who else would you go out and get? You know, that's a question for today's video. Who would you go out and get? You know, let us know down in the comments below. But thank you to everybody who tuned in for this preview against, of course, West Ham at the weekend. Make sure to remember to hit a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, there is a super thanks button as well if you want to help the channel in that means. Then do go ahead and hit that button and put whatever donation you want in there. None of them are taken for granted, and I am massively appreciative of the support. And I'll see you all next time. However, lads.